What is up, guys? So today we're going to talk about relapsing, what it's like, what it feels like, how it can come out of nowhere, and it can be devastating, especially if you've been clean for a while. You've got so many clean days, and then one day you wake up and you've used the night before. It's like, oh my god, fucking devastated. But it's not the end of the world, and what you should do is just take it as a blip. You've had a little stumble, it's part of recovery. But if you're like me, you start overthinking it. But anyway, let's get into it. So over the years, I've relapsed many times. It doesn't matter how far along you are, it's always there. There's triggers all around us every single day. As soon as we wake up, it could be something as simple as making a coffee. That's happened to me many times. I've been making a coffee in the morning, and I'll get that smell of the coffee, and it puts me back into a prison cell underneath the courtrooms. Because what they used to do is they'd put you in the police station for like 2 days. You'd get remanded. They'd take you underneath the courts, put you in the underneath the court cells, and the first thing Group 4 would say, right, who wants a coffee? They'd make everybody a coffee, and I'd be detoxing, rattling from drugs, and the smell of the coffee. Whenever I smell coffee now and again, it'll put me right back into there. And that's when the gears start churning, that's when you start thinking. Or you could be out getting a pint of milk from the shop, and you'll see a couple of dudes with that fast scoring walk, and they're going to, and then you start thinking about drugs, they'll be having a bit of banter, a bit of back and forth, and you're like, oh man, I missed that, and you start forgetting about the hell that is addiction, and you start thinking about the good stuff about it. And a lot of the time when people get clean, they go from having a crazy hectic lifestyle. This is another way people can relapse. You can go from being an addict, you're always on the go. It's 7 days a week, 24 hours. You need money, so you're out chasing money every day. It's a hectic schedule, there's no days off. It's a hectic lifestyle. And then when you get clean, you've now got 24 hours in a day, and you've got nothing to do. And I know people say, oh, we'll just go and get a job, but it's not that easy. You can't go from long-term addiction straight into a job. A lot of addicts dropped out of school. They've been in active addiction for 20 plus years. So they've spent half of that in prison. So they've got no experience, no qualifications. So, you're stuck. What can you do? It's even hard to get a factory job. So you go through a hectic, busy schedule to nothing all day, every day. This is why I always tell people, routine is so important. So you ain't got time to think, you ain't got time to ponder, you ain't got time to think about drugs and how miserable and all the regrets and the shame, the embarrassment. Get yourself into a routine and stick to that routine no matter what. Rain, snow, wind, whatever. Stick to that routine. And let's say you've been clean for a long time. A lot of people, the boredom starts to kill you. It's a killer, boredom. You can be sat there and at the back of your mind, you've got all day to go, you've got nothing to do, and if you go and buy some drugs, then the day will just fly by. And a little way I can put it is like, imagine waking up with your phone, right? Turn your phone over, because the first thing you do when you wake up, you go on your phone, you check Facebook, YouTube, you go through your messages, whatever. Now wake up, turn your phone over, right? You're not allowed to look at your phone. So just imagine you're sat there bored, and if you pick that phone up, you can pass the time, you can talk to people, but you're not allowed. So put that phone down, you can hear it pinging, you can hear it vibrating. That's what it's like when you're in recovery. That you can go and get some drugs, pass the day, and it's always there pinging and vibrating, and you just got to ignore it. You have to push it to one side, and you have to get past that. And once you do get past it, you get into a routine. You can go like my last relapse. I was working, I had everything what you're supposed to do, a good job, built up loads of money in the bank, thousands and thousands, tens of thousands of pounds. I was in a relationship, everything was going great. And then boom, one day I woke up, I can't even explain it. I just started thinking about crack, like, you know, maybe I can, it's been a while, I can just have it just once, you know, one last time. It won't affect me. And from that moment, I remember it plain as day. I just couldn't stop thinking about crack, and I was like, I've got to use, you know, I couldn't. It's like a tractor beam. It's so powerful addiction. It's like you just get caught in this tractor beam, and there's been times when I'm going to score, and I'm like, I don't want to do this, you know, I don't want fucking drugs. Why am I going to score? But I just couldn't stop myself. And I couldn't stop thinking about it. And then after work, I said to my mate, I fancy a fucking smoke. Because there was a kid who I used to work with, and he had the same life as me. He was in recovery, but he still used on the weekends. So I'm like, the opportunity was there. I was like, okay, well, I'll come round to yours, we'll have a smoke. So I took a big wedge of money round, bought loads of crack, big lump of crack, some heroin, and I smoked all night. And the weirdest thing with heroin, right, is when you're a heroin addict, you need heroin to sleep. If you haven't had heroin, you can't sleep. You're up all night, you're ill. But then when you get clean and you haven't had it for a while and then you have heroin, it keeps you awake. I don't know why. I don't know the science behind it, but you can gouge, you know, like mong out, like, yeah, but you can't sleep. And so I'm up all night smoking crack, and then I had a boot to come down on so I could get my head down, but I couldn't sleep. So then I've had to go into work the next day, and I looked like death warmed up. My eyes were pinned to death, bright red, glazed over. My face was, you know, you could see a mile away something was wrong. And I walked into work, and I just says, look, man, I'm fucking hell. I feel like I'm dying. Can I go home? And he said, yeah, you don't look well. So I've gone home. I finally got to sleep, and then I woke up the next morning. I was devastated. I was like, you know, all that good time, all those years, all those weeks, months, they're ruined now because I used yesterday. And that's when the depression sets in. I start, you know, miserable, like, fucking hell, I'm a failure, I've failed. And that's what it's like. You know, it can be devastating waking up after a relapse. But like I say, what you should do is just put it down as a blip. And another thing what triggered me was drinking. Like, I think I'm past that now, because I had a drink, like, I've had one drink in the last 2 or 3 years, and I had 3 cans of beer, ended up going to a hotel room, ordered some pizza, and just had a night in a hotel room. And I didn't even think about drugs. But before, so I think I'm past that stage now, but before, whenever I got drunk, I would think, my mind would, because my judgment was impaired, I would think, yeah, it's a good idea, I can just go and use, and that'll be it, a one-off. And I remember I went out, I was having a drink, and I went to town, and I met one of the old, I'm not going to say an old mate, because I don't like the cunt, but I saw an old associate from the drug world, and he like clinged on to me, and he was following me everywhere, and I couldn't get rid of him. And then he started talking about crack, and, oh, come on, we'll go and get some crack. And I was like, oh, fuck, I don't really want to. But again, the tractor beam locked onto me, and I found myself going and buying crack, and I was sat smoking it. I didn't enjoy it at all. It was horrible. I don't think I've ever enjoyed smoking crack. I've enjoyed heroin when I've been sat in a cell for 3 days, and then I finally get out and finally get some heroin, and you smoke it, and it sends you back to normal. I've enjoyed that. Which is crazy, isn't it? Spending money just to feel normal. Spending hundreds of pounds a day just to feel normal. It's insanity. But yeah, I've gone out with this dude, and I had a smoked this crack, didn't enjoy it at all, and then I've gone home, gutted, devastated, I couldn't sleep again. And then the next morning I've woke up, and as soon as my eyes opened, I was like filled with dread and misery, like, fuck's sake, I've failed again. And then you start fucking, and this is the thing with addiction, man. People don't see this side of it. They just see either a smackhead or somebody who's clean. They don't see all the fucking stuff what goes in between, all the problems, all the mental trauma, all the anxiety, the depression, the fucking, you know, this is all the health issues afterwards. They don't see all that. But that's what it's like. And that's what it's like. When you relapse, it can feel like the end of the world, but it's not. And it's an old cliche saying that relapse is part of recovery, you know, and it is, you know, it has been for me. I can only speak on my own personal experiences, but I do think you finally reach a point where the switch gets flicked, and then that's it. You've clocked it, but you've got to keep an eye on it because it can happen out of nowhere. Like I said, when I was working, I'd been clean for years, and then all of a sudden, boom, it just got planted in my head, and I just couldn't seem to shift it away. But I'm at a point now where I rarely think of drugs, and I do want to start like having a social drink again. My problem is, in the past I've drank way too much, you know. I couldn't get drunk. I'd have to get absolutely steaming mortal, and it was, you know, it was the wrong way to do it. But I don't drink at the moment, but I would like to get back to a little bit of social drinking, and you know, there's something to look forward to. Maybe have a can this weekend. But yeah, the best way to approach a relapse is, okay, I'm messed up, it's only once, you know, don't overthink it too much, just chalk it down to a blip and just carry on going in your recovery, and yeah, just keep moving forward, get yourself into a routine. A good little tip is get an electric bike, because that for me is life-changing, you know. I can go out now, I can go pretty much wherever I want within Doncaster, and maybe start a YouTube channel. But don't come on here like giving it a big spuds. What I do is I just tell people the truth, you know, and people can see it. So you can come online and you can pretend stuff, you can pretend you want to help people, you can pretend you're a changed person, you can pretend you're a nice guy or a tough guy or whatever. But people can see, you know, you can see if you're genuine. And if there's somebody coming on, spouting, pretending, people can see it. And I think that's why I do okay on YouTube, because people can see that I'm genuine. They can see the pain, they can see the trauma, they can see the excitement. When it's like I've just recently reached 10,000 subscribers. 3 years ago, I was suicidal. I didn't want to live anymore. I couldn't see a way forward. I was like, there's no way out. I'm fucking doomed. Just kill me. I just want to die. And if someone had come up to me back then and said, keep going, you know, you're going to be all right. You're going to start a YouTube channel. You're going to get 10,000 subscribers, and people are going to support you. People are going to watch your videos. People are going to laugh with you. I'd have said, fucking hell, you've been smoking my crack stash, haven't you? There's no chance that's going to happen. And yet, look, here I am, you know. So you've got to keep going, keep moving forward. Better days are ahead. You're going to have tough times. You're going to have times where you're miserable. And never, ever think that you're too far gone, because that's what I did. I was like, there's no way out. I'm on 5 different drugs. I'm an alcoholic. I'm massively overweight. I can't get out of this, you know, it's impossible. And it was impossible until it wasn't. And that's how long it takes to get clean. It takes 2 seconds. The moment you decide, that's it, I've had enough. So yeah, keep moving forward, and better days will come. So yeah, bonjour. If you like this video, press the thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. Nerf de pop.